something.
I always thought that was a good place to build a home.
What's your date of birth?
1737.
What year were you born?
37.
And where were you born?
Right door next. You know where Rhodey and them used to live?
Yeah.
There.
That's over there by the old airport.
Don't know what.
That over there by the old airport house. Why'd they call it the airport house?
I don't know. Oh, because it used to be an airplane. Well, I don't know whether they got a hangar there or not. They ain't got a hangar there now. They must have tore it down. Well, the tornado blowed it down one time. I don't know whether they would place that house or not.
Where were you when the tornado hit?
Just crouched down somewhere because Grady was praying, and I rolled a big old blanket in on Junior's baby bed. He said laying there wondered it hadn't hurt him. And James was going to the window and looking out, and I was looking out. I don't know who's all scared, you better believe.
About what year was that?
I don't remember.
How old were you?
I must have not been over. Well, I was going to school because the bus come down that way that morning and stopped to see if anybody was hurt. Of course, James rode the bus sometimes, but a lot of times he'd walk.
Well,
go in later.
Yeah. How old do you think you were?
How old is James?
How old were you?
Oh, I think I was probably about 8 or 9. I don't know.
So you think that was about 1946?
Mm-hmm.
Think that was about 1946?
Somewhere along that way, I imagine.
Now, you mentioned James. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had, I had one. My mouth can't talk. Does dead ones count?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's another by Lucille. Anyway, 2 sisters.
Who was their firstborn?
The one that died.
What was her name?
Jiggs, but her name was Irene.
And what did she die from? How old was she when she died?
Oh, Mama said 5.
And what happened to her?
She had diphtheria.
And where did they bury her at?
She's buried. I think she's buried over there at Robinsonville because they was over there looking at the graves, and I think I said, "Well, I didn't know she was buried over there." I knew Mom and Daddy was.
What did your mama say about her dying?
That you didn't know no real hurt till you lost a child.
Tell me about who was the next one that was born.
Next one was James.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now James was he was the oldest. Now
James and Jiggs was the oldest. Then here come me and Jean. I was next. Jean was baby.
Who came after James? Who came after James?
Me.
Or Lucille?
No, Lucille come before James.
Oh, Lucille was the oldest.
After Jiggs died.
So it was Jiggs,
Lucille.
James. Oh, okay, Jiggs, Lucille, James, you, and Jean.
Me and Jean. Jean was a little baby.
Okay. How many? Which ones are still alive? You and Jean?
Just me and Jean.
Okay.
And he turned 80, and I'm in my 80s.
How old are you?
I think he just hit 80 in March last year.
But how old are you?
85.
Now, what was your mom and daddy's name?
My mom and daddy's name?
Yeah.
Well, Mama's name was Lena Lighty. Emmons before she married. Lena Lighty.
What was your daddy's name?
And his name was Ellen Leonard Driscoll.
And who did he work for?
He worked for a lot of people too.
Who was he working for when he got hurt?
Alger Sullivan.
And
he worked for the Yeah, and two in the gravel boat.
Alan Henderson.
Yeah.
Now,
He said he was hard to work for.
what about what did y'all like? You kids like to do on the weekends?
I better put my jacket on.
Hey, what did you kids like to do on the weekend?
What did he want?
Where would you walk to from the airport house on the weekend to do something? Have something to do.
Oh, he was walking back from town.
But that was Alan Driscoll. But where did you and Gene like to go on the weekend?
The movie, the
And
Jackson Theater.
Oh, what did it cost to get in?
Uh,
What did it cost to get in?
Back then, it just cost a dime to get in, and over and I forgot what it must have been after 12 years old. 35 cents.
What kind of movies did y'all like to watch?
Oh, I don't remember all that.
Was it cool in there?
I like to watch Roy Rogers
Yeah.
and Dale Evans, and the comical.
Now
No wonder you like to watch old. What's his name? Gone with File. I watched part of it last night, and I was up taking my pill. I didn't take the pill. I got it.
Hey, didn't you end up working down there close to the Jackson Theater? One of your first jobs?
And what?
Down there close to the Jackson Theater. Didn't you work across the street at the drugstore?
No.
Yeah, you.
Oh yeah, I worked at the Flomaton drugstore, but I had done been married. No, I had never been. Yes, I had. I had done been married then. I think.
Well, where was your first job at then?
Bus station was the first place I worked.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Who ran it?
Mr. Arrington.
Okay. Did you like him?
No.
Well, where'd you work next?
Next, I went to work at Helen Depot.
Who'd you work for there?
Mr. Lambert.
You liked him, didn't you?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
What'd you do at the depot?
I would have served food.
Okay. So you worked the sandwich counter. You worked the sandwich counter.
They sold meals too.
You remember seeing
I
people?
thought you was going to stop at the boys down here.
Do you remember seeing people come through at Christmas?
Oh, yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, it was a nightmare, kind of lined up all the way to the platform.
Would they get in a hurry?
Sailor boys and airport boys and all kinds.
Oh, all kinds of boys. Yeah. How old were you then?
I was about 18 probably.
Oh.
They didn't sell no beer there. And they didn't sell no beer at Grubbs. That was the next place. They didn't sell no beer there, but they still can't hardly talk.
What do you remember about working at Grubbs's?
After 3 o'clock in the morning, the drunk crowd come in and people drinking, and you had to put up with a lot. And that's when them two girls had that fight, and other people had trouble too. That boy was shot out there, something. I think he was shot. And
Was the food pretty good?
yeah, it was pretty good.
They had a phone booth in there?
Have what?
Phone booth.
Yeah. The phone booth. They had a phone booth, but I couldn't get to it that night. Them girls, they was fighting right under the phone.
Were you going to call the law?
Huh?
Were you going to call the law?
Yeah, I had to go to the kitchen, go in the back, go out to Miss Grubbs to call the law.
Oh, you had to wake her up?
I don't know. Or woke her up or not.
You worked at Justice Drugstore, didn't you?
Yeah.
And what was that like?
I didn't like it too much. Old man Justice was a bad man to work for too.
You worked at the sandwich counter, didn't you?
Huh?
You worked at the sandwich counter, didn't you?
Soda fountain.
Yeah, and did you made milkshakes
Yeah, they made milkshakes, banana splits.
and
Sundays.
A young man named Jimbo worked in there too, didn't he?
Yeah, he was his son.
Uh-huh. Well, you have a lot of memories of those days, don't you?
He had he'd get on him too if he ate too much stuff.
What was it like living out there by the airport?
I don't know. Didn't think too much about it.
Did Junior Henderson run it?
Yeah.
He was in World War II, wasn't
he?
he?
Was a flyer.
Yeah, he was a flyer. And didn't he train pilots out there?
Uh-huh.
And did you say one time they had a jukebox out there?
Had a good what?
A jukebox.
Oh, yeah, when he got in college and started dating, come home, he'd have girls meet him at that little office place. And they'd play the jukebox and dance.
Now, he went on to be an attorney, didn't he?
Uh-huh. He must have got that from his daddy, because he said, his daddy almost, he said, daddy said it too, and he said, old man Allen always goes home when Perry Mason comes home.
So he wanted his son to be a lawyer because he liked Perry Mason.
Well, he never did have to live.
Now, what about
Work as hard as Junior did.
Where'd you go to school at?
Who?
You.
Went to school at? Well, I just barely do remember going to school at Century. I think I just went half first grade, and we moved out there to the airport, and then from then on I went to Flomaton.
How'd you like Flomaton?
I just barely remember going to Century.
Did you like living in Flomaton?
Huh?
Did you like living in Flomaton?
Yeah, I did sometimes.
Was it bustling back then?
Was it what?
Was it a bustling little town?
Yeah, it was a lot of activity going on.
What kind of restaurants did they have? Can you name some of them?
Well, the bus station, the Milky Way, Nemes's Cafe, and the Ideal Cafe, and the City Cafe, and drugstore, like I said, soda fountain, sandwiches. They just serve soda fountain, drinks and sandwiches, and I guess it's all the cafes and restaurants. Oh, down across the line, they had the Wayside Inn. That was where they had the TV and football games going on, and people drinking beer. And that was actually a little older. I didn't. And across the street was Duck's Tavern. Down the street was Blue Light Inn on the left. Lucille and them lived on the right side in the house.
neighbors that were on this road when you got here?
Well, I don't remember nobody being on it, but Miss Page, the old lady Page,
L.V. Page and
what was that woman?
J.D.'s mother.
Yeah. What was that down there at the end of the road? That's that
Miles.
house. Miles. I didn't ever see them, but they lived there. I could tell they lived there. We'd go by, That's the only people I remember being on this road.
When was the first time you met Miss Page?
Oh, she come to see us right after we moved out here. Miss Page was always so sweet. Sometimes she'd say things, but everybody's got diabetes. She had it too.
She was a good neighbor, wasn't she?
Yeah.
What about J.D.?
Yeah.
Sure do miss them.
He told me when I come back from the hospital after having that heart attack, he said, "Helen, I never thought I'd see you again." They sent me the prettiest flowers. Do you remember that?
I do.
They couldn't come, but they come up there to Bruton when James, for his funeral. They didn't go to the graveyard, but they come to the...
What about Jim and Liz? Vincent, what were they like?
Oh yeah, after we started going to Robsonville Church, they come visit us, and that was real nice.
And Miss Turner?
Miss Turner was real nice. She got somebody died or something, or she bring a dish or something.
And Clint?
And yeah, he was Clint, just like he always was.
And what about, wasn't it...
He went hunting a lot, and his dogs would get over here.
Yeah. What about that Chuck Page and Iris? Remember them?
Yeah, I remember them.
That's back when there was nothing on Howard Page Lane but their place, right?
And our cow, we had cows. Sometimes one of our cows would get over there, and they'd call us that was over there.
Yeah.
Let's go in here, man. Well, we lived there before we got the little house over there, right?
Was that the haunted house?
One O'Neill thought was haunted.
Why did he think it was haunted?
He said the doors would undo, but it must have been some kind of wind or something. But I wasn't scared because I said, well, if it's Uncle Jack and them, I said, they don't bother me. But O'Neill, he just dreamed up all kinds of things. But we lived in that little apartment. I guess probably a couple of months till O'Neill got the little house ready.
And where did that little house come from?
Dr. Abernathy's cook. It was just a 2-room house when we got it, I believe it was just 1 room. It seemed like it was 2 rooms though. And it was I told you about that. Mr. Harper was handling it. Daddy found it because he run Western Auto, and I guess he was telling him that O'Neill was hunting one, and so that's how he got it.
What it cost to buy it?
$500.
What it cost to move it?
About $500, I think.
Who moved it for you?
Them Williams people.
And what all did you have to do to it when you got it over here?
Well, we just made 3 rooms out of it. The room you slept in, that was our bedroom to start with, and the living room and the kitchen all together, just one.
Any city water out here then?
Huh?
Any city water out here, or how'd you get
no, we didn't have no water for a year. We had to haul it.
From where?
Down there at the spring, I reckon. I told you that before.
Yeah, you did.
Because I remember when we got out of a pump, we were so happy.
Where'd you get it?
Bought it.
From where?
I don't know. It seemed like Sears, but I think the Birdman put it down. I don't remember what it cost. But when we got it, boy, we was so proud of it. There wasn't city water out here till a long time afterwards, Mr.
Early 1990s.
What was Mr. They used to have that antique place over there.
Millstead.
Yeah, he's the one that got it started. He got the city water out here, and people giving them donations. We didn't give them no donations to help on it, but Miss Page gave, I think, $200 on it, and but they let us in on it anyway, just for the money to turn it on, and $50 to turn it on, and I was glad when we got it because I didn't have to worry about that old pump freezing up.
Yeah.
But that pump was After we hauled water for a year, wasn't a lot of young people done that.